weather's cleared up a bit.
Yeah.
It'll hardly rain again, will it?
No.
Yeah, shower maybe. What I normally do now is just put it down here and tape it on there, and I'll check then. I don't think it'll be in your way in any way, will it? No. So we're okay. Yeah, we're okay. Corner of the hedge.
And you don't have sound up here.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Páirc Uí Rinn for the Bon Secours Cork Premier Senior Football Championship meeting of St Finbarr's and Ballincollig. A new normal was envisaged when the group championship structure was created last year, but no one could have imagined just how different the 2020 competition was going to be. Indeed, the possibility of actually playing games looked almost non-existent a few short months ago, with the country caught in the grip of coronavirus and a resultant lockdown. But incredibly, here we are at the starting line of a campaign which will be a test like no other for players and squads alike. But some things are sadly not the same. Government protocols and restrictions limit the capacity at this and indeed every other game in the Republic to 200 people, which means that thousands of fans can cheer on their club heroes from the terraces and the stands. Thankfully tonight, we at the Irish Examiner, in partnership with the Cork County Board, are able to bring you live and exclusive coverage of this championship game free of charge, and indeed we will continue to do so throughout the season. We extend a warm welcome to those joining us here in Cork, those watching around the world who perhaps have been unable to return home this summer due to the impact of COVID-19. I'm delighted to welcome former Cork manager Brian Cuthbert to our commentary team for tonight's game, and he will be running through the lineups in a few minutes' time. But before we talk to Brian, let's check in with the two clubs. Due to social distancing procedures, we utilised conference calls to link in with the respective management teams. In a few moments, we will hear from Ballincollig coach and selector Niall Allen. But first is Barr's selector Ian Keeler.
Now, Ian, thanks so much for taking the time to chat to us ahead of tonight's game. What has been the biggest challenge for you and for the Bars over the last couple of weeks and months?
Well, Colin, I suppose, look, we've probably been in a situation where it's an unusual season, to say the least. Obviously, for the lockdown, we had no collective training, obviously, in line with all the regulations going on. So it's only the last couple of weeks that we've been in a position to come back onto the field. And look, you're hoping that, you know, in the few weeks that we've had together, that we've been able to do as much as we can in terms of fitness and just preparing for the game tomorrow night. Obviously, we played a few challenge games and a couple of training sessions, and hopefully that'll put us in good stead for the game tonight.
Okay. Now, you mentioned a few challenge games there. Were you going outside the county for those?
No, we were in Toker and played a couple of local teams, and we kind of had 3 or 4 just kind of A versus B games inside in Toker. So look, it's I suppose what you're trying to do is just gauge the fitness of guys in a match situation. You know, we've obviously done as much training as we can in the short period that we've been together, and you know, obviously with no Keller Shield games or anything like that to kind of prepares for the Ballincollig game. You're just trying to do as much as you can.
Where were you at in the league when the shutdown kicked in? Were you happy with how the season was going?
Yeah, like we had played 2 games against Clonakilty and against Skibbereen. So we had drawn with Clon and we had beaten Skibbereen and Toker. For the week we were both play our 3rd game against Michaels is when it was locked down, and sure, it was at that stage you have a lot of pre-season training done and you're kind of using the league to gauge it for the championship. And then obviously with the lockdown that came in, It's just the hope was that we probably would have got a few league games maybe back in before the championship started, but obviously in the current climate, I think everybody is just delighted that we do have a championship to play. It's obviously going to be very different for fellas. Preparations have obviously been much different than what we're used to. But look, I think we are where we are now. It's going to be the same for every team. So, we're quite happy to get a chance to play Ballincollig and see how we get on.
Okay, now we were just talking a few minutes ago off air, and I think you made a very fair point. Kind of, with all of this, it means everybody is kind of at the same level in terms of preparation, really.
Yeah, look, I think, normally at this time of the year, going into July and August, you would have had a full pre-season early in the year, and then you would have played a first round game, and hopefully if you won that, or maybe you had to play a backdoor game. And for us then, we'd have hurling obviously that would come into play, and then during the early summer, sometimes you even have to kind of have a second pre-season depending on inter-county games where you may not have a lot going on. This has just been very, very different. Obviously all teams only had a short few weeks to where you've been able to collectively get together, and it's definitely been a challenge, because look, as much as guys kind of look after themselves, getting guys onto the field for championship is different. I think even tomorrow night, it's going to be strange. We're going to have a very small crowd, only a handful of people in the ground. So even the atmosphere that we're used to for fellas playing championship, where the crowd, everyone hopes that your home crowd or your own supporters lift you inside in the ground, and it's going to be very different tomorrow night. There won't be a whole lot of noise, so it's definitely a challenge for everybody.
Very quickly, what has the last couple of weeks been like for not just as a group, but the entire club? The fact that our lockdown finished a bit earlier than expected. Great to see youngsters back out on the pitches, boys and girls, hurling, football, camogie, etc. A big lift, I would say.
Yeah, I think it probably brings home to everybody how important the GA is. Certainly for us, in Toker, the Bars is a central part of everything that goes on within the community. It's a place where normally any night during the summer, in a normal year, you would have games of all different grades and all different activity going on. So, the club is full of people, whether it's a senior game or an underage game, kids are training, and to kind of drive into Toker all through the lockdown and see the gates locked up, it's very tough, and especially on kind of all the different generations within the club. It's a core part of what they do. So even over the last kind of week or two, having the club back open, obviously, the clubhouse itself is still closed and dressing rooms are still closed and stuff. But last night, our minors had a great win in the hurling championship in Toker against Douglas. And again, while only a certain amount of people could get in, it was fantastic that people could get into the club and see the games played. And look, similarly tomorrow night, we know that it's going to be restricted in terms of access, but at least, the club is back playing games, and hopefully over the next, month or so, as we go on, more people will get access to the games. But I think the most important thing is that I think GA clubs all over the country, which are the hub of the community and a big part of the ethos of, community spirit and the culture that we try to develop within communities, that kind of gives us more openness so that more and more people can get access to matches and stuff as we go. Because, for mental health and all that type of stuff, we know how important it is, getting kids back training, getting kids back playing and getting them active again. So look, it's been great the last couple of weeks, and hopefully it'll continue now, and we'll get more of that over the next few weeks.
Noel, thank you so much for joining us ahead of tonight's game. You're a selector and a coach with Ballincollig, and I want to talk to you about the coaching side of things. Explain to me how challenging it has been after the layoff that we've had, getting a team ready in such a tight turnaround for such a tight turnaround of a championship.
Yeah, it was challenging at the beginning. We were trying to keep our social distance. So it was just all ball skills, really. We were trying to go back to basics as much as possible. We've Paddy Gleeson, who's our strength and conditioning coach, would have maybe planned a lot of the running and stuff like that. But then it was just back to basics with the football. And then as things were lifted, we could get back on the pitches properly and gradually getting into full training. But it was challenging at the beginning, but it was the same for every team, really. And in fairness, everybody knew what was happening and what the state of play, so everybody was on board with it, really.
Okay. What sort of condition were the lads in when they came back to you?
They were in very good condition, really. You know, I'd say a lot of fellas were at a loose end with the lockdown, so I'd say they were going running, tipping away in the whatever weights or stuff they had at home. So yeah, I was surprised at the condition of fellas when we came back, because I was looking at one stage as if we wouldn't have any football at all. So in fairness to fellas, I'd say just for their mental well-being more than anything else, we're keeping in shape. And then, luckily enough, we have some football to look forward to at last.
Yeah, it's amazing to think, Niall, that John Horn appeared on the Sunday game that Sunday night and painted a very bleak picture in terms of a return for Gaelic games, and we find ourselves now on the cusp of one of the busiest championships probably in history. That's going to bring a lot of challenges as well, though, for players and for coaches.
Yeah, it will, and like we've maybe a crossover of 7 or 8 players who are hurling and football. So they'll be, they've gone from nothing to having. We'll have 4 games on the bounce, and then a break, and then hurling and football again. So it will be very tough. And even since we've come back, injuries are being picked up, and it's just trying to manage people as best as possible. But I suppose it's the nature of it. Trying to squeeze as much into a short space of time, it's very challenging, and especially with the dual clubs, even more so. There's no break, there's no chance for a bit of freshness or anything like that. So, it's trying to manage players as much as possible is what we've been trying to do even over the last few weeks, because the hurlers want their players, the footballers want players, so it's just trying to find the right balance, so to keep everyone happy, but at the same time not be flogging fellas either.
The fact that the squad sizes are cut down to 24 because of the restrictions is another headache and another challenge that backroom teams are facing.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose there's one group of players looking to get from the subs to the starting 15, but then we've another group of players who won't even make the 24, and then the way the tickets are going, fellas probably won't even get in to watch the match, so it's awful. Fellas who have put in a serious effort all year, or fellas who are injured, there just isn't tickets there for them to get to see, to even watch the game. So that's very tough. It's very tough letting fellas know that, number one, you're not on the 24, and number two, you won't even be allowed in to watch the game. So I would feel sorry for any player in that position.
Okay, well, it's a brand new championship for us all to look forward to. It's also a brand new championship format here in Cork. What's your mindset in terms of approaching the group game system?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's brilliant. It's great to have guaranteed 3 games, that fellas know they have them. I know that the season is condensed, but it's brilliant knowing you can train. We've trained for however many weeks, and now we're straight into championship, and that'll be it till the end of the season. So I think it's brilliant, the new format. I think it's tough. We've a very tough group. It will be tough, and the same with the hurling going on at the same time. But I do like the new format of groups, and of you're guaranteed that 3 games, and you can give loads of fellas a chance to play. So no, I'd be happy enough with it. I'd be happy enough, even though it will be tough for the next few weeks.
No, Ian, thanks so much.
Our thanks to Ian and Niall for their time over the last couple of days. Welcome indeed to Páirc Uí Rinn back to the stadium, joined here in the commentary position by Brian Cuthbert. Brian, did you think we were going to be seeing this scene a couple of months ago when John Horn was on the Sunday game?
No, Colm, you'd have to say that, as much as we were wishing for it, you were definitely thinking to yourself that, it wasn't going to happen for us. And I suppose, look, over the last couple of weeks, the fact that we had the feeling that championship was coming, everybody was getting excited, and even the acceptance of, the restrictions here tonight, that, there's really only 80 club people from both teams here. People are accepting of that because people are just willing and wishing that, activity happens across all the spans in all clubs across the country. And I think, people are very, very excited about the opportunity of their club participating, even though they might have to watch it live on live streamed. I think the bottom line for me is that people were willing to do anything for this to happen.
Okay, and of course there's been a massive challenge, not just for the officials in Cork GA as well, but again for the teams and for the club secretaries and all the officials, just to get everyone out here tonight.
Yeah, I suppose. Look, I can only talk about my own experience in my own club in Bishopstown. The amount of work that has gone into making sure that restrictions are in place and that everybody is abiding by the rules as laid down by the GA and the government. It's been a huge operation. I can imagine it's the exact same in every club. And I think again it goes back to acceptance. People are the GA is so ingrained in people, Colm, that they're actually willing to change behaviour so much and do so much work just to ensure that people get activity in their clubs and their communities. And I think it's a huge positive sign for us that we've got this far already, 2 or 3 weeks into it, and most clubs seem to be operating well.
Bit of a surreal feeling though here tonight, though, Brian, in terms of we can nearly hear every conversation out in the field. You were probably able to park almost outside the door, etc. Is that something that is going to be challenging for teams to be playing in this kind of a scenario?
Yeah, I think so, Colin. But I'd also hope that if things remain as is in terms of the virus, that hopefully in a couple of weeks' time we might get to 500 people maybe attending a game. We're looking out across the pitch here at the moment. Somebody's getting physio on a bench on the sideline. Like, I've never seen this before, obviously, and it is absolutely surreal. The terrace is empty over here. There's only a handful of people down here. Everybody looking at each other, who got the tickets. So it is absolutely different and it's absolutely surreal, yeah.
And just to our left-hand side, just out of shot, actually, a lot of the Bars players who had come togged off were applying strappings and the like up here. Very quickly, so we're going to just bring the teams up and we'll mention the Bars there. First of all, just popping up on your screen now. In goals, Patrick O'Neill, Burns, Glenn O'Connor, the full back line. It's Colin Lyons, though, making way for Colm Scully. Colm Scully coming in wearing number 23 at wing back. Olin Murphy and Alan O'Connor. Then Ian Maguire, Colm Keane at midfield. Colin Barrett, Stephen Sherlock, Cian Walsh is the half forward line. And Killian Myers-Murray. Great to see him back after a cruciate knee injury. Brian Hayes at full forward. And Owen McGreevy is at corner forward.
Yeah, you'd have to think that this is a very experienced Bars team, Colm. A lot of these guys have won county championships, obviously. A lot of success at underage as well at minor and under 21 level. Some new players coming into the Bars team over the last year or two have given them more pace than maybe what they had in the past. But I think it still is a team that revolves around Ian Maguire very much. Remember last year we were here where Nemo actually stymied his playing off a lot, let him have the ball, and he ran into a wall of bodies every time he had it. So it'll be absolutely interesting to see what Ballincollig do here tonight, because he certainly is the mainstay and the driver of this Bars team. It'd be interesting also to see how Stephen Sherlock goes. I say he was disappointed during the year when he was no longer required by Cork. Very, very good player, very accurate, and interesting enough, he's playing at 11 tonight.
Okay, we'll take a look at the Ballincollig team now, which will be popping up on your screen in a moment. In goals, it's Jack Gibbons. Shane Murphy will be wearing number 2. Liam Jennings, the perennial Liam Jennings at full back. Arod O'Donoghue then alongside him at left corner back. Half back line of Kevin Brown, Noel Galvin and Cian Kiley. Midfield then is Peter O'Neill and JP Murphy. Half forward line of Sean Kiley, Luke Fahey and Evan Cook. And then the full forward line, Cian Dorgan, that man Patrick Kelly wearing number 14, and Darren Murphy, he's a bit of a speedster, is the corner forward wearing 15.
Yeah, I like to look at this Ballincollig team, Colm. I think they're a good mix again between experience and pace in terms of youth. Again, they're under 21s there from last year. Some of those making their senior debuts now. I think, just like the Bars team, I think Paddy Kelly still will have a big influence on this Ballincollig team in terms of when they have possession, what actually happens with it. I think a lot of ball will go through him, and he's such a good brain. He's surrounded by huge pace, and Darren Murphy, as you say, Cian Dorgan has proven himself at this level many, many times. And I'd like to look at Luke Fahey actually at centre forward. He was very good the last couple of years at under 21 level at Ballincollig, and I think he could have an influence on the game tonight. Okay,
we will hear a bit more from Brian in a few moments' time. Referee James Birmingham coming out onto the field with his officials. Will be getting underway in a few moments' time. Very quickly, one person that isn't here tonight is the chairperson of the county board, Tracy Kennedy, and I caught up with her a little earlier today to talk about missing a championship game for the first time in a long time.
We're our Cork County Football Championships for 2020. Like many of you, I'm at home tonight watching the game on the live stream because I was unable to get a ticket, and hopefully the numbers limitation on access to our games will be removed as soon as possible, because I know we all feel we could safely accommodate a few more patrons than we're currently able to do. However, it's a really good time for us to be announcing our media partnership with the Irish Examiner, as we did this week, because while it will always be great for us to be able to watch some games from the comfort of our own homes, it's particularly useful and important to us right now when most of us cannot get to any games. So we're delighted to welcome that partnership, and many thanks to everybody involved, both from the Cork GA side and on the Irish Examiner side, for their help and cooperation in bringing this to fruition. And we also announced this week our partnership with Ballincollig Hospital Cork, who are now the sponsors of our County Football Championships. And again, this is a great partnership for us. It's been a few years since we had sponsors for our county championships, and it's wonderful to have a company like the Band. So many thanks to everybody there as well for coming on board with us. We have a really exciting programme of games to look forward to, and it's brilliant to think that we're finally back in action again after, a period of time where we really wondered if we ever would be, if there'd be any more games this year. So it's great to have games starting this evening, and there's a wonderful programme of I think it's about 26 games this weekend to look forward to in our Bon Secours Football Championships, and then next weekend our Hurling Championships get underway. And I really hope that clubs and teams get the benefits that we would have all hoped of our new county championship structures. This year was the year that we introduced a new group stage, group format championship, which was something the clubs had been wanting for some time, and a lot of work had got into that. So while we worried it mightn't actually happen, I think we have managed to find a balance to give our clubs a meaningful programme of games, which is really what is important to all of us. So again, thanks to the Irish Examiner for coming on board with us and streaming their games, and I want to wish all our teams every best wish, every success in the upcoming Bon Secours Cork County Football Championship. So best of luck to everybody, and let's all hope we have a great season. Thank you.
And our thanks to the county chairperson Tracy Kennedy for taking the time to speak to us from Killa a little earlier this afternoon. You are watching the Bon Secours Hospital Cork Football Championship clash here, the Premier Senior Football Championship clash of St Finbarr's and Ballincollig, brought to you by the Irish Examiner in our new 3-year partnership with the Cork County Board. We'll be streaming a whole host of championship games throughout this campaign and indeed over the next 2 seasons. The live streaming, Brian, is something that has taken on a life of its own in the last number of weeks.
Yeah, I suppose, Colin, when we were doing the games last year, it was a very popular initiative. You could see that there was a huge uptake in actually watching games, but we never thought and never envisaged that the live streaming would be actually so important to people around the county and around the country and around the world. Obviously, when you're away from home, the live stream is something that you have to just rely on. When you're living in Cork and you like to go to championship games and you just can't go, the live streaming has become a godsend to people. So I think I'd it's very easy for me to say, but I'd applaud the initiative by the Examiner and the County Board, and I think this is going to prove very, very popular over the next number of weeks and very important for people.
We'll certainly hope that is the case. Liam Jennings and Ian Maguire, the 2 captains, just joining our match referee James Birmingham there in the centre field for toss of a coin, will be getting underway in about 2 minutes time. Just to mention as well too, we will have our water breaks as well too after about 15 minutes or so of each half, and then we will have about 10 minutes or so of a break at half time. Of course, we're talking about all the changes tonight in terms of crowds or lack of crowd. New format for the championship, Brian. Are you a fan of that new system?
Yeah, I think. Look, it's something that people have been asking for a long time, Colm. They wanted to see could we go back. I think 30 years almost in county championship, where we had a group format and then qualify in for quarterfinals after that. But I think absolutely. Something like this at the time it has proven to be a huge boost to people, because it's not more of the same. The world has changed, Cork has changed, but the fact that this the chance of playing championship this time of the year, in the height of the summer, with all your Cork players with you for a couple of weeks in a kind of condensed 6 week period, is absolutely vital and massive.
Okay, we'll break for the national anthem. literally a ripple of applause there as the national anthem was playing out, as the teams falling into formation. As I said, a surreal atmosphere here tonight. You can almost hear every word from the players' pitch side as well, so maybe those of a nervous disposition might want to lower down the sound for certain aspects of tonight's match. And anyway, we're about to get underway with our match referee, as I said, James Birmingham. This is the first game of a new season, and what a season is in store. It's going to be a very condensed campaign, but I think we can take it's going to be a hugely exciting one as well. We have our players on the pitch. We're just waiting on our match referee to hand over whatever paperwork is required.
You notice there now, Colm, that Liam Jennings has gone out and Stephen Sherlock here at centre back. Noel Galvin's gone back in at full back, taking up Brian Hayes. I think obviously Ballincollig have identified that Stephen as the sharpshooter, obviously for the Bars, and Liam is tasked with trying to keep him quiet.
Yeah, of course. Stephen, as you said, scorer in chief, has had as he's run with the Cork Seniors, was a Cork under 21 player when it was the old grade of under 21 back in 2016, and as Brian has been pointing out, the Bars will be expecting big things from their centre forward, but Liam Jennings, an experienced operator, usually positioned on the edge of the square, and he's the man that'll be tasked to keep Sherlock in check over the course of the next hour or so. So all systems set. Referee James Birmingham looking around to make sure he's umpires, he's linesmen, and all the players are in place. I think there's an exemption for social distancing out on the field of play here in Páirc Uí Rinn tonight, and we'll see how all of this is going to pan out here in our game, being brought to you with thanks to the Cork County Board. This Ballincollig Hospital Cork Premier Senior Football Championship match. It's Ian Maguire who was getting in the hands on the ball, but the free going towards Ballincollig and Peter O'Neill. And of course we can't forget as well too, isn't it amazing, Brian, all the hype and talk about the new rules at the start of the year got completely forgotten in all of this, and we'll be seeing advance marks and the like hopefully at some stage tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody has forgotten that the game will slightly change, hopefully not too much, but hopefully the new rules will allow an element of people with a bit more freedom to kick the ball and go for a longer pass.
Darren Murphy was the man on the ball there, but that looks to be dropping into the hands of goalkeeper Patrick O'Neill, the man all the way from Tyrone, made his senior debut for the Bars last year. They go through the hands and it's out with Colm Bard. Nice interplay there with Colm Keane. He's got runners either side of him, but he's opted to go route one towards Sherlock, and Sherlock did very well, bought the free there from Jennings, but great running by the centre forward, and got himself right on the edge of the exclusion zone and the opening free for the Bars. Yeah,
Colm, I think it just as we were speaking about the advance mark, it's very obvious there on that first play that the Bars are going short up, with 4 or 5 hand passes, but as soon as they got anywhere near the halfway line, they looked immediately, the runners weren't coming to them, they were going away from them, so they were actually looking immediately for that long kick pass, and I'd be interested to see the next 3 or 4 attacks, are they going with that attempts for marks.
And he's a powerfully built young man, and a powerful kick as well too from Sherlock for the opening score of the game, with just over a minute and a half elapsed here this evening. Jack Gibbons is the man who's restarting for Ballincollig. Has been in goal since about 2015, out as far as his centre back Noel Galvin rides a couple of tackles, and out as far as Liam Jennings now in that centre back role, playing out to Luke Fahy. Fahy fouled though, and being sent back to the area where the foul was committed by the centre back there, Olin Murphy. No options to hand, so he's pumping it right in towards the corner forward. Bounced up perfectly there for the corner forward, Cian Dorgan. Dorgan off his left on the 21-yard line. He'll do well to curl this one. He did really well to curl that one in. Great score, in fairness. He read the ball very, very well, and actually the ball from Luke Fahy was quite deceiving, the way he kicked it off his foot, and Cian read the flight of the ball extremely well, got inside his man, and was confident enough to go back on his left and put it over. Great score, and that leaves us point apiece with 2.5 minutes gone. Powerful kick out from O'Neill. as it found its way out over the sideline. It has, but there was a push in the back there, and Ian Maguire was the recipient of that untoward piece of play, and the result will be a free to the Bars out on that far side.
I think both teams are going to adapt a different strategy on their own kick out in terms of defence, or on the opposition kick out in terms of defence column. The first kick out shows that the Bars are playing zonal on defence on the kick out, whereas Ballincollig are man on man.
Olin Murphy did well there to find Colm Scully. Good play by Scully, the man who was injured just before the start of the game, and a wayward arm has brought down a Bars man. Is it Sherlock again, for the second time being fouled, and another free being awarded. This one though will be a bit more of a test as it's out towards the sideline there, but 21 yards out, and let's see now what his range is like from this position. Yeah, we waited for a second there. No hawk in Páirc Uí Rinn, but that one has gone over the crossbar, and that a fine score there. Bit of pulling and dragging going on here, but it ends with midfielder there for Ballincollig, JP Murphy, claiming possession, but fouls it and loses possession. We thought it was a free in there for a second. It's going to be a hot ball between himself and Colm Keener going up for this one. The two number 9s coming together. A 99 on a Friday evening in Páirc Uí Rinn. Scully trying to get his leg to it, but it's Liam Jennings burrowing his way out, surrounded by 3 Bars players, and eventually winning the free. Bit of afters there developing already between one or two of the Ballincollig players, but we're back with the football and back with JP Murphy. Murphy opts to go crossways. Paddy Kelly on the ball for the first time tonight. Distinctive boots by Paddy. Out to Luke Fahy. Ball in by Fahy again, but well read by the cornerback on this occasion, Sam Ryan. Of course, missed a good chunk of last season with injury. Great to see him back in harness and in action tonight. It's Cian Walsh all the way back helping out his defence. Out with Colm Keane. And then it's the wing forward, Colin Barrett. And eventually route one, but only as far as Evan Cook. Nice ball in by Evan towards his rampaging wing back, Cian Kiley. Finds its way to Darren Murphy. Murphy jinks left, jinks right, and just catches a bit too much off the inside of his boot, and that one trails wide.
Yeah, interesting enough, Colm. As we thought before the game, Paddy Kelly is probably playing on the top of a type of triangle. The two faster players inside in Cian and Darren Murphy, and I would imagine Ballincollig will do their very best to get Paddy on the ball as often as they can.
Colm Scully is a man that's been on the ball quite a lot in the opening exchanges there. A nice intelligent ball by him there in towards his corner forward, Owen McGreevy. McGreevy being held up about 40 yards out. His number one target is Sherlock. Sherlock off the right. If that goes over, that'll be a phenomenal score, but it looks to have trailed about 5-6 yards to the left and wide. Probably could he have gone on another bit with it?
Yeah, but I think it's actually a sign of confidence. He's after scoring 2 points from 2 good frees in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Won the ball very well, and as you said, it would have been a miracle score if it went over, but the fact he took it on, even though it wasn't the right thing to do, it shows that he has plenty of confidence anyway.
Great bit of fielding there by the Ballincollig number 8, Peter O'Neill, and it's back with their wing back, Kevin Brown, working it down the far side there into the centre forward, Luke Fahy on the 45. He's gonna go running on it. He's carried it onto the 21, still onto his left, and that is a great score. Saw the space opening up in front of him and said, I'll take this on, and covered about 20 yards and popped it over very confidently to kick Ballincollig's second score and the equalising score, 2 points apiece.
I think that was a great score from a young player. He got the ball outside the 45, and the fact that he had the confidence to take on 3 players on his weaker foot and score.
Yeah, there was Ian Maguire coming up for that one, and had plenty of afters there from JP Murphy as well, but the free being awarded to the bars, and it's Maguire himself who's going to take it. Yeah, incredibly, I was regarding Luke Fahey, just scored that a moment ago. Brian spent most of his footballing career as a defender. He's only been repurposed as a forward in recent times. Back anyway with Colin Barrett, loses possession, and it's Ballincollig who come here with their wing back Kevin Brown. Forced to turn backwards yet again to Peter O'Neill. O'Neill a little low ball in and around the ground, and again Sam Ryan equal to it and clears it away. And once again it's Colm Scully who's doing the hoovering up there. He's providing a good link out from that wing back position. First time ball again, aimed towards Sherlock. This time Jennings is all over him like glue. Sherlock trying desperately to regain possession. Ballincollig calling back for reinforcements, but it's the Bars who have the ball. A great crossfield attempted pass in towards the full forward there to Brian Hayes, but well cut out there by the centre back Noel Galvin.
Yeah, interesting enough, Colm. The Bars started Stephen Sherlock as a centre forward, and he's playing centre forward. But on the 3 or 4 balls that have gone in long, he's been in there on his own. So obviously the ploy is to withdraw a lot of people and create space inside.
And it's Sherlock again, but this time he loses possession, and this time it's Liam Jennings who's in command there, helped by his midfielder JP Murphy. And here come Ballincollig again. It's the centre forward there, Luke Fahey, who scored that fine score a few moments ago. Great ball in by him to the corner forward to Darren Murphy. Still Murphy. This lad did some damage against O'Donovan Ross last year in the championship down in Ballinascarthy. A game they were subsequently defeated in, but was pushed in the back there and a free end.
Well, I'm very impressed with Luke Fahey so far. I think he's kind of taking on the mantle of Paddy Kelly in a way, in the fact that so much ball has gone through him. And I think Ballincollig look to have 2 playmakers, one in, deeper than the other obviously. Luke Fahey got that ball in his own half. One good pass to the 2 inside line that they have, because Paddy is playing out a bit. Darren Murphy's so quick and he's so good in the ball, he's going to cause any defender trouble when he gets the ball in so much space.
And plenty of that on the occasions that we've seen into that corner spot and off the left leg. And it is a point there. We were wondering there for 1 second, and it was the wing back there, Cian Kiley, who kicked that one. Of course, Cian incredibly played in the 2014 championship winning campaign as a minor all the way through, and has continued that rich vein of form ever since. Now it's with Brian Hayes, Cork under 20 star, swallowing up the ground on the 20 yards. Kick though is a bit of a weak one, spumbled by the goalkeeper and buried to the back of the net by Owen McGreevy. Bit of an error there by the goalkeeper, didn't know whether to come or go. Defender coming across in front of him, he's corner back, and Owen McGreevy, man that played soccer with Cove Ramblers once upon a time, had that famous goal scorer's instinct of being in the right place at the right time, and he knew where he was putting it.
Yeah, it was just a case of kicking it in, really, to be fair. But I think Jack Gibbons will be very disappointed with that. The ball dropped awkwardly enough, to be fair, but he should have dealt with it better than that. I know he was down very, very low, and the defender came across him, but it's a poor goal to give away at this level.
Yeah, so Gibbons, as you said there, kind of fumbled it. He had his cornerback Shane Murphy as well coming across, and as Brian said, McGreevy had the easiest of tasks to roll the ball into the bottom corner now. So this is going to be a real gut check for Ballincollig, and Paddy Kelly is the man that's leading the resistance. Peter O'Neill, great ball in by him in towards his midfield colleague, was it? And that was a poor shot in the end by Sean Kiley, was it, that had it the wing forward, and how Ballincollig badly needed a score there.
Yeah, you think that he would have put that over, but it was actually a wonderful move. He was the person who caught the kick out, and he was the guy who got on the end of the ball again. So I think this is going to be a great game, Colm, the way it's opening up. The goal is going to give the Bars a cushion for a while, but the way the game is quite open, I think either team are going to open each other up a few times here yet. So
kind of a championship buzz without the buzz, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I suppose if the crowd still are passionate, for the small crowd that are here, there's still plenty of noise in terms of encouragement in terms of their own club team. But I think the players are going hell for leather here, and I think it's going to be a very, very good game.
We have some substitution, I think, trying to come on. It's hard to tell now. We have. We don't, do we? Anyway, we have a man wearing number 17 on the pitch, and that's Alan McCarthy, who he's on for. We'll come back to, because the ball is with Darren Murphy, and Darren Murphy kicks a fine score off his right. We mentioned Owen McGreevy having time with Cove Ramblers. This man had time with Cove Ramblers as well. An incredibly talented young soccer player for Ballincollig, won a national cup title with them, and he's after kicking a vital score after the concession of that goal.
Yeah, it's a very important score, Colin, because if the Bars were to score again without Ballincollig scoring, they'd be in their ascendancy completely. But
back with Colm Keane on the ball here. He's got a runner inside him. That was the centre back, but he's opted to go in towards the full forward line, and it's cut out and back on Ballincollig with Evan Cook here in front of us. Cook going in as far as his midfielder, and wearing number 9 is JP Murphy. The red gloves into Darren Murphy again. This lad's been told to take him on, and he's opted for a great shot again, and that's 2 from him. Helped over in the end by Patrick O'Neill, the goalkeeper, but there was no stopping that effort.
I've seen him do this before, Colin, in the fact of he'd 1 or 2 chances earlier on that didn't go over, and next thing he kicked a very good score. Now he's kicked another, and I guarantee you the next 3 or 4 balls he gets, there'll be kicks, there'll be shots taken. I'm not saying they're going to go over, but I've seen him before. He gets very, very confident very, very quickly, which is a good sign of a player. And I think there'll be plenty of shots out of him yet once he gets possession. Yeah, and that shout as well that's coming from the sideline to take him on all the time. Some bit of back chat there towards the referee, and it's James Birmingham having a word. Looks to be the centre back. Is it Olin Murphy? Yeah. Sometimes when you hear managers shouting in, take him on, take him on.
It's a black card.
He's gone.
Yeah. He's gone, so we didn't see what exactly was at cause there, but
he goes to sin bin.
Olin Murphy is gone for 10 minutes. Thanks for reminding us there on the old rules and regulations. As I said, the National League and all of that seems such a lifetime ago now, so we'll have
I don't see the Bars having anybody coming in. I'm right, he goes to sin bin.
A bit of a course. So we're gonna 10 minutes without him, we're told. We'll wait and see. Anyway, it's Cian Dorgan with the resultant free from 45 yards, and Robin Hood straight as a die and over the bar, and that's pushed Ballincollig into the lead, I think, for the first time in the game after 15 minutes.
It'll be interesting to see now what they're going to do with with being up a man here now for the 10 minutes.
We didn't see what exactly had happened, but there had been a bit of pushing and shoving going on.
So Cian Walsh has gone back, centre back now for the Bars. Obviously, Ballincollig end up with an extra defender back here.
Yeah, and you can see people suddenly finding their voice here. There might only be 200 here in the ground, but it sounds a lot louder than that. The giant that is Ian Maguire seemed to be taking on half the parish of Ballincollig as he tried to soar up for that one and was fouled, winning the free and goes short to his midfield partner, Colm Keane. Keane to his full forward to Brian Hayes. Maguire, first time ball in as far as Sherlock. Will it race to the line? Sherlock did his utmost to keep it back in play, but the ball carrying a bit too much pace and out over the end line.
The exact same again as Stephen Sherlock on the end of all of these longer balls. I think if we watch him for the next 2 or 3 minutes and see if he's playing out centre forward or is he playing in between full forward and centre forward, I'm not sure.
I'm sure he's not sure himself. Quick little kick out there as far as Grode O'Donoghue, but referee James Birmingham calling halt for the water break. This, of course, a new part of the championship structure. The teams having a break after about 15 minutes for about 3 or 4 minutes and badly wanted time to regroup. What is the conversation down in the Bars camp in front of us, Brian?
Well, I think straight away, Colm, the thing that I can deal with straight away, and it's happened at the deal time for them with the water break, is the fact that they're down a player. So how to organise themselves very, very quickly. And I suppose the water break is going to give them that. I think Ballincollig, to be fair, I think they just have to keep doing what they're doing. Now they have an extra player. They've played him in defence, but I actually would push him more forward and get real control of the game. I'd play him as an extra midfielder rather than a sweeper, which Ballincollig seem to be doing now.
Okay, well, just looking here, it looks like it was Colm Scully was the man that went off possibly as a blood sub, and that was who Alan McCarthy came on for. Handy having your manager also being a doctor. Paul O'Keefe is the man who's having a look at that. So the question is, will we see Colm, who had been impressing, I must say, in the opening 10 minutes or so. He was gesturing to the match referee as he walked past there that he had received a stray elbow into the head. So it looks like there's a bit of a patch job being done, and he'll be back out onto the field. And the word then for Ballincollig, like again after the concession of that goal, they've turned things around, thanks in the main to that corner forward to Darren Murphy.
Yeah, I think so, Colm. I think Ballincollig actually are controlling the game as such, in terms of they seem very comfortable in possession. The Bars are actually hurrying around them, but they don't seem to be putting them under huge pressure. And I think Ballincollig, with that insight too, will cause the Bars backline a bit of trouble yet.
Okay, well, we're back to where we started, which was a kick out for Jack Gibbons. And off we go again as Ballincollig come at speed with their cornerback Shane Murphy, one of the dual players for Ballincollig, and what a test it is going to be for dual players in the county of Cork over the weeks and possibly months ahead. Here it comes out with Liam Jennings to Paddy Kelly. Still that touch of class by Paddy to create space and find a home there with Darren Murphy, and spilled off Darren. Paddy was there to clean up again. Class is permanent is what they say. And lovely little dink of a ball in towards the midfielder, the wing forward there, Sean Kiley. Kiley, though, a bit of a Gary Owen up and under effort, and that's despite the best efforts of Cian Dorgan chasing after it. He can keep it in.
Yeah, to be fair, he won the ball very well there, Colm. To be fair, with one hand he was holding off the defender with the other hand, but he had two runners coming off, and all he do was give it to one of them, and I think they would have been into it for an easy score. But again, Ballincollig just seemed to have more composure and more time on the ball than the Bars at the moment.
Looks, by the way, that number 30 that you just see on your shot there looks to be Colm Scully after that blood injury. Obviously was told by the officials that he had to change his jersey, so wearing number 30 is Colm Scully, and Sean Kiley and himself getting to grips out over there on the far side, and ball bouncing right over Ian Maguire, but it doesn't matter because it finds its way to Colin Barrett. Barrett off the left again, aiming for that man. Sherlock does very well getting out to it there. Who's going to support him on this occasion? He's forced to go back, and it's all the way back out as far as Colm Keane at midfield. Great kick by Keane all the way from 45 yards.
Great score.
And that is a
Great
phenomenal score by the midfielder Colm Keane, who's also a hurling talent as well too with the club, and a county medal winner back in that famous 2018 campaign.
Yeah, great score. Stephen Sherlock turning provider that time. To be fair to all those long balls that got in into the Ballincollig defence, he has come out either winning them and shooting himself, or winning them and laying the ball off. So he's proven to be not only a score taker but also a target man as well.
Did very well to win, but knew that the shot wasn't on, and smartly opted to play it back, and resulting in a score. That man that Brian has mentioned a couple of times in the course of commentary, Luke Fahey, did the donkey work on that occasion, kicking it in, and a foul being committed on Darren Murphy, and it's going to be yet another free to Ballincollig. Cian Dorgan stepping out for this one. Cian, of course, no stranger to pressure kicks, famously kicked a winner in 2016 in injury time in a Munster Under-21 final to defeat Kerry down in Austin Stack Park. And the scoring touch is still very much in evidence there, and that's pushing it to 7 points to Ballincollig, 1-3 to the Bars.
Yeah, and again, I do think that Luke Fahey is absolutely dominating proceedings in around the middle there, and as you said, he started life as a defender, and you could see the directness that he has in his play.
That was a mark there by Ian Maguire, but he opted to play on. And here come the Bars again with their corner forward there, Killian Myers-Murray, back after a long injury layoff. Great ball by him, and as far as his other corner forward, and that one is popped over the bar there. and that's brought it level 1-4 to 7 points.
Yeah, McGreevy there is he's very hard to mark. He's very elusive. Interesting enough, he grew up on the soccer team with John Egan, who now plays at Sheffield United, and there were two, and Damien Cahalane. So the three of them together, they actually were an under-16 Greenwood team that won the All-Ireland soccer competition, whatever that is. But he's a dangerous player.
Garrod O'Donovan was coming out but managed to lose possession, and it's back with the men from the Bars with Brian Hayes, powerful operator with his wing back there now. It's Alan O'Connor. O'Connor back to Hayes and into Ian Maguire. Now this man can build up a head of steam. Back to Sherlock, off the left. Lovely little dink of a pass there to Hayes. Hayes on his left and on just over. It looked like he was trying to dip it under the crossbar, but clipped it over.
I think he should have taken it on further, to be honest about it. He had the goal open up in front of him. He shot from just outside the 14. If he took another 3 or 4 steps, it would have been an easy score for him.
Yeah, but great awareness by Ian Maguire, who was bottled up very quickly, and Hayes kind of running the overlap, picked the pass, and as Brian said, maybe could have driven on just an extra stride or two, and he'd have found himself in goal territory. Peter O'Neill getting the kick off into his corner forward down there. It's the man wearing 13 is Cian Dorgan. Race on, but it's the Bars who regroup. You're watching, by the way, the Bon Secours Hospital Cork Premier Senior Football Championship clash of St Finbarrs and Ballincollig, being brought to you by the Irish Examiner, part of our new arrangement, our new partnership with the Cork County Board. We'll be broadcasting matches throughout this campaign. We'll have 2 if not 3 matches a weekend, and all of these games being brought to you free to air as well. And we hope you're enjoying the coverage wherever you are. I know a lot of people can't be here tonight, would love to be here, whether you're at home or abroad. I hope you're enjoying the fair, and I hope if you're a Bar supporter you enjoyed that piece of magic from Killian Myers-Murray, a man who is after a nightmare cruciate knee ligament injury, and almost a year of football gone as a result.
Yeah, I'm delighted he scored. I think he was showing huge promise before he got injured. And I think he's a guy with a very bright future. Obviously comes from a strong pedigree of very good lineage there. But I think he's the type of player that the Bars certainly need, and maybe Cork need in time as well. And I'm delighted to see him back in action.
And that was a fine score by him. Referee not happy with the positioning for the kick out there, so we had to have a second bite of the cherry. And off comes the wing back there, Cian Kiley, swallowed up, but managed to get it back to his midfielder, to JP Murphy. Murphy's a shrewd operator, I must say, but overcooked the pass on that occasion, and Ian Maguire more than happy to collect and restart things with Colm Keane. Great runner inside. Colm Keane is his wing forward, corner forward, should I say. Owen McGreevy, ball by him in towards Brian Hayes. He's got Sherlock inside him. Will he take Sherlock? No, he's opting to fist it, and he fists it over the off the post and back into play again. So unlucky, and the Ballincollig defence had to be alert there, and Noel Galvin is the man now in possession. Galvin back out as far as JP Murphy, and working it out with Peter O'Neill now, and O'Neill is opting to go right across the field to Garrod O'Donovan. O'Donovan now looking for options, but things are pretty watertight in front of him, so he's going to go back to the orchestrator of things, Luke Fahey. Can he strike the right note here in an effort to get through? Well, he's hoovering up the yards. The pass though towards Darren Murphy was a bit too high for young Darren, through the fingertips, and once again the Bars with a bit of help from Ian Maguire regrouping and come back on the attack here with the 45-yard line with their wing back Glenn O'Connor. Nice play by McGreevy, long way from his corner forward posting, helping out. It was a poor ball though by him, and has turned over possession yet again, and it's Cian Kiley on the 45-yard line into Fahey, who's running off his shoulder. Fahey falling, being pushed, and there's going to be a free end there. But back to what you said, Brian, this young Fahey is he's an eager beaver.
He's very direct, Colm, and I think when you're on a player who gets onto a lot of possession and doesn't want to play outside you and wants to go at you all the time, and there's space inside you, it's very difficult to actually keep him at bay. I think he might tire a small bit in the second half, and it might cost Ballincollig a small bit, so somebody else might have to play that role a small bit. for them, and maybe Paddy Kelly comes out and does his thing. But interesting enough, Colm, the game seems to be played in the middle third. Both teams have one or two forwards up only. Same with the Bars, they've one or two forwards up only as well. And things are getting congested a bit here in the middle. Like that last play there, the Bars had Owen McCreevy basically just kicked the ball away because he was on the sideline under pressure. So I think again this game is extremely open, and it's anyone's game really.
Anyone's game, and we're score wise now we're at 1-6 to 8 points with 28 minutes elapsed here at Páirc Uí Rinn. Waiting on more words from the match referee. Not happy with some of the protocols here on the sideline. And even though the crowd might be small, plenty of voices being heard there.
James is just trying to make sure that the new rules are being adhered to in terms of 2 on the sideline. The Bars had 3. So Paul now has sat down and let Jim and whoever the Merfern is, I don't know, they're stand on the line.
Great piece of fielding there by Ian Maguire. He's fouled, and a great little ball in by McGreevy. But the referee has called the play back, and surely there was a goal chance there. But to be fair, I think the referee James Birmingham had his whistle blown before Owen McGreevy unleashed his kick, and it's Sherlock who's going to come out 50 odd yards out, and he's going to try his range.
We look down the other end of the field now, Colin, and you can just see one player 1v1 inside in the whole half. So I think this idea of congesting that middle third.
Great strike of the ball by Stephen Sherlock. That is a fine strike of a ball.
He had 10 or 15 more yards than that, but looks good.
And that's pushed it out to 1 goal and 7 points to 8 points in favour of the Bars, with 29 minutes gone here at Páirc Uí Rinn. In this clash this evening, it's the Bon Secours Cork Premier Senior Football Championship clash. Ball is trickling back.
Goalie couldn't touch it.
So he was aware of the new rules there anyway, and it's out with the cornerback there, Shane Murphy. And Ballincollig escaped there on that occasion. And out they come here with Sean Kiley being held up a bit, but and a good job there by Colm Scully yet again on him. Back with Glenn O'Connor here in front of us. Sister Gemma, of course, famous Cork Camogie star. Killian Myers-Murray. Lovely ball there to Colin Barrett. Barrett tumbles just at the wrong time, and it falls perfectly for the cornerback Rod O'Donoghue. And Ballincollig coming here in front of us with Paddy Kelly. He's got a runner inside him, but instead he's going towards his corner forward towards Darren Murphy. This man has pace to burn. Being held up though. He still has Kelly outside him, but opts instead to go. Well, eventually finds Paddy Kelly via Cian Kiley and Cian Dorgan. JP Murphy out to Sean Kiley. Back with Paddy Kelly. Hard to believe 10 years on from an All-Ireland winning medal for Pat. We'll be hearing from him during the course of this season as well. And strangely there, Luke Fahey, we've been praising him all evening. Handling, letting him down there. That all breaks down, all that hard work undone. And here come the Bars then on the counter-attack, and it's Stephen Sherlock. He's got Liam Jennings for company. Still Sherlock burrowing down, head. What a blaster of a shot. There's one thing on the mind there, and a couple of inches lower. That would have been in the top corner, but it's flown over the crossbar.
Yeah, you'd have to say that Liam Jennings is under small pressure on Stephen. There's an awful lot of space around them, and Stephen, I think that's his 3rd point there now, or 4th point maybe. He's looking very, very dangerous.
1-8 to 8 points. 32 minutes gone here, and a let off of sorts for Ballincollig. I know it was a point, but Sherlock had one thing on the mind there. Down at the far end, I don't think there can be too many complaints from the Bars defender there, as young Darren Murphy found himself rolling around on the ground.
Yeah, and again, it's a mismatch. Jamie Byrne is about 6'6", I'm not sure what height Darren Murphy is, but he certainly is not over 6 foot. And the ball is dropping low in front of you on a very, very, very fast player. It's difficult for Jamie, and that's his second foul now. And the small crowd here are calling for some sort of card. But if Ballincollig keep isolating Jamie and Glenn O'Connor and get onto the ball and move it a bit quicker like they were doing earlier on, I think they will cause some problems. But at the same stage, the exact same thing is happening at the other end with Stephen Sherlock.
Cian Dorgan will take the free there, just about 21 yards out and straight in front of the goals, and matter-of-factly taps that one over and pushes it to 1-8 to 9 points with 33 minutes elapsed of this Cork Bon Secours Cork Premier Senior Football Championship 1A clash, the Bars and Ballincollig. So much action taking place over the weekend. You won't want to miss the Irish Examiner on Monday, return of our sports tabloid section. 32 pages of unrivaled comment and analysis from right across the grades of the Football Championship. Well, what do we make of that?
I suppose you'd have to say that at times Ballincollig looked to be very, very comfortable, but Eoin McGreevy's goal obviously has been very, very important in that half, and I would think in the last 7, 8, 9 minutes, or maybe even since the water break, the Bars have seemed to be a bit more aggressive, a bit more dominant in the tackle, and actually are taking the game much more to Ballincollig. And when you saw there a while ago, Paddy Kelly had the ball maybe 3 or 4 times in one play. They had to play outside the Bars, whereas in the first 10 or 15 minutes they were able to cut through and kick easy ball into the space inside. The Bars are working a bit harder, certainly in the last 10 minutes, and I'd have to think that if they can keep that level of intensity up, and if they keep that level of work rate up, they're going to stymie Ballincollig a bit, because Ballincollig, he is after get a bit tired because of the work he did in the first 25 minutes. Their game plan is kind of breaking down a small bit, and their inability to I suppose break those tackles and kick easy ball into the inside too. When that is slowed up anyway, I think the Bars are quite comfortable as well. Okay, now you mentioned Luke there tiring down. Is there going to be more of an onus now? We saw Paddy Kelly drifting out a bit more as well there in the last 10 minutes. I think with Paddy's experience, what he'll do is he'll dictate the game for a while. Let Luke recharge a bit. Exactly, I think, and I think they're kind of playing with 2 centre forwards anyway, because Paddy's so far out, and it's actually a very, 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 very good system in the fact that it suits Paddy down to the ground to be on the ball so much and to dictate play, and then it gives Luke a capacity to actually recover, because his game is so dynamic. He's just going straight at players, and he's getting onto a lot of ball. He's making huge runs, which you can't do for 60 minutes. And particularly, Colin, we have to remember these guys as a team probably have only been training for 3 or 4 weeks. And I think that's going to tell here in the second half. The fact fellas could have been doing as much as they could do on their own during the lockdown, but certainly as a club and as a team, it has been very difficult for guys to get right. Okay, we're going to come back to Brian for more analysis in a few minutes' time. Just want to bring in someone else that isn't here tonight. It's the Chief Administrator and the CEO of the Cork County Board, Kevin O'Donovan, and I caught up with Kevin a little earlier the afternoon to talk about, well, a number of issues, as you'll hear.
Now, Kevin, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. That's one of the busiest men in Ireland in the past week or two. First of all, I want to ask you, did you ever expect, did you fear that we wouldn't have this start of the championship in 2020?
I think a lot of us were in that space maybe back around 6 weeks or so ago. I suppose the night John Horn was on the Sunday game really looked hard to see anything at that stage, and we would have been delighted just to get back on the field and have training sessions and have people able to access walks and so on. But I think it's great that we're back on the field. I know there's a lot of caveats. I know there's difficulties with crowds and attendances and dressing rooms and restrictions. But the game is about players playing in a field, and I think it'll be beautiful to see that return tonight.
Okay, in terms of those caveats that you mentioned, I'm sure your phone has been hopping as your email and all communications from secretaries are right around the county. But I suppose we must make the point, Kevin, that this isn't just a Cork issue, this is a national issue.
Yeah, absolutely, a national issue. And to be fair, like the officers in clubs now are really on the ball, so it's all well-informed questions and debate over email and so on. To be fair, it's never a phone call now, because it needs to be in writing, it needs to be a record and things that we can replicate and send to other clubs as well. The other thing, I suppose, is the ground moves under our feet, and that we delayed our championship to get to the 500 crowd. That's why we didn't play on the weekend of the 17th. We waited till the 24th for that reason. Then that disappeared in front of our eyes. So my view on it now is go day by day, make the best decisions we can, treat the fixture list as sacred in its current form, but then be ready in a week's time to do something else. That's kind of the space I'm in at the moment. Whatever comes, comes. We get players on the field tonight, we'll take it from there.
Okay, we've seen scares throughout the country and especially here in Cork in the last 2 weeks or so. Is there a contingency plan? Is there a plan B if, say, for example, a team that's due to be playing senior championship on a Sunday has a suspected case on a Monday?
Yeah, it all depends, you see. It depends on suspected case. What does that mean? Is it a member of the team? Is it a family member of a team? Croke Park now say that teammates are not close contacts unless the HSE indicate that they are. Are those dual clubs? Do they have another game the following weekend, or do they have a free weekend? Is it the county final, which would surely go back a week if there was a problem? Is it a relegation playoff? So we've had that discussion as the CCC, and our belief is let's take it on a case-by-case basis. Let's proceed with caution, week on week. Let's enforce the regulations and guidelines and make good decisions as we go. We could spend forever writing up protocols on the what-ifs. We feel we can deal with them as they arise. But the GA has gone very much down the route back maybe about 10 days ago, that it's not an automatic lockdown and everything if there's a suspected case. We've come a little bit away from that now in regard to close contacts and so on. And that's all sensible, because those are guidelines from the health authorities as well. So no massive contingency plan B that we're going to unveil and pull out of the cupboard if a game is called off. But we look at the circumstances as they arise.
Okay, now we've mentioned all the caveats and all the negatives, but so many positives, as you said, Kevin. The fact that we're back out in championship, and as well the fact that we have a new format in the championship as well. Huge excitement around the county.
Yeah, I suppose there was a hard-fought battle to get that format in, and another hard-fought battle to keep it, to be honest with you. And we know that's what the players want. We know they want this programme of games. They've been screaming at us for a number of years, telling us they want it. Now they'll get it. They'll get it in July, which is an extra bonus, which is the dream of any Cork person, that the championships would return to the summer months. So much positivity. I suppose a bit of negativity around the tickets and frustration, but we'll have to make choices too and decide, would we prefer a lockdown or would we prefer this? But everybody getting to see a lot of good games on the TV, a few people being lucky enough to see them, and it's all fingers crossed that on August the 10th we'll be back at the 500 and open the gates a little bit more. So so many positives as well when you think of where we were, as I said, that night when John Horn was done the Sunday game a few months ago.
Finally, a momentous week for Cork GA off the pitch before a ball is kicked in anger, with your agreement with us in the Irish Examiner for live streaming of matches, and also a new sponsor for the football championship. Plus, I believe a sponsor on the hurling.
And so I lost you there a little bit, Colin, on the Wi-Fi, but great deal with the Examiner announced during the week. Exciting partnership with the Ballincollig Hospital Cork, and a hurling sponsor on the way to be unveiled before the championship next week. It's a sign, I think, that we're starting to move. We all know the financial challenges we're facing, and we know that our organisation needs to take a shift, in terms of modernisation, in terms of being open and more partnerships and so on, and giving really good value back to our partners as well. And already there's been issues arose with partners, and we dealt with them as partners. We found a solution in the middle that suited both parties. So I think it's really exciting. I think it's only the start. You look at the possibilities in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and we're very much seeing now Cork GA and Páirc Uí Chaoimh and all of our supporters as one vision, one unit. And I think you'll see much more of that coming down the track now in the stadium as well. These ones were pretty urgent. The championships were starting. It's fantastic to get them over the line. We have a commercial manager in Sinead O'Keefe, and I think creating that position has helped kickstart all this action as well.
And our thanks to Kevin O'Donovan for taking the time to chat to us a little earlier today. We were just chatting there off air, and one of the things that we noted is for a chunk where the Bars were dominant, they were actually down a man.
Yeah, and I think it happens quite often, Colin, when you actually lose a man, you have to up the ante a bit, and that's what I referred to before the break. The fact that the Bars were much more intense, were much more dominant in tackle, up their work rate, and certainly was that in response to being down a man. Sometimes that happens. We won't know till afterwards, but there's certainly that last 10 minutes they dominated proceedings.
Okay. In terms of how teams are approaching this championship now with the group games, is there a different mindset?
I don't think so. I was passing in there when the Bars were warming up, and certainly from listening to what the players were saying, this was championship, and whatever guys the board decides championship to be, I think players in their own mind, they get keyed up for these nights. These are the big nights. These are the nights that you want. And the fact that we're playing them in the middle of the summer, and as I said before the game, the fact that you had all your players with you for the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, and Cork is shut down for a while in terms of the senior football team, I think this is so special and so different that the players have bought into it hugely. I heard Micheál Martin, captain of Nemo, speaking today on the radio, and the weather's been good as well, and big attendance at training, and everybody wants to be where they are.
Okay, we're back up and running, and Ian Maguire soaring through the air, and we'll be hoping to see him do a lot more of that throughout the course of the season for the Bars, obviously, and for Cork as well. And here they come, starting with intent. It's Colm Keane going short and working it all the back to Owen Murphy, who had that spin in the bin a little earlier, but he's back in play now at the moment, and I'm sure he'll be desperate to make up for that earlier indiscretion. Up with the centre forward there, Stephen Sherlock, yet again a hit and hope effort there, and that one has gone wide. My assistants here in the press box had it spotted long before the umpires, and we're back with Jack Gibbons kick out. Eventually Shane Murphy has it, and finding it all the way back to Gibbons, who conceded that rather sloppy goal in the opening half. Bit of a debate whether he was unsighted as well too by the in-rushing Shane Murphy. Good kick though by him to Pa Kelly. He's got a runner inside him in JP Murphy. Shouts for JP, and it's collected there by the corner forward Cian Dorgan. Cian opting for a bit of an aerial effort there, and it's going to bounce, and it's going to bounce out wide, even though a Barsman had his hands on the ball, that being the fullback Jamie Burns, but the ball had already crossed the line at that stage, and it's going to be a kick out for Patrick O'Neill. As I said, a man that played for the Tyrone Miners, which I believe back in 2014. The same year that Ballincollig were winning a county championship here in Cork. We were actually doing one of the games, if you remember, Brian, last year, and there was a contingent who had driven down all the way from Tyrone to see him in action, and of course they left pretty sorry with I think it was a bad night as well, and the Bars were defeated that night.
Yeah, I remember it well, and to be fair, when you travel around, you see the passion the people in the north have for our games. I think it has to be seen to be believed. We have a lad in our own club who's from Tyrone as well. He's making his championship debut tomorrow night, and
don't be giving away any secrets now.
There's a contingent coming down as well, but unfortunately, there's only one ticket available for a contingent of about 7 or 8.
Well, you can watch the match anyway live tomorrow night, and I'll be mentioning some of the games that will be coming up in the near future on our new service with the Cork County Board. That was another wide there, a kick and hope there from Colm Keane, who of course is also a senior hurler with the Bars.
Yeah, the one thing that we have to note is the fact that Ian Maguire hasn't really been his dominant self yet. But I stress,
or has he been let be his dominant self yet as well too? Is there a touch?
Yeah, I think so. I think everything, like we saw, he made one run there in the first half, and he was bottled up immediately with 3 or 4 defenders. But I think he's like more an experienced player now. He'll bring himself into the game at some stage, and I think he will do damage at some stage.
Exactly, and what he could do in the space of 10 minutes, could turn any match. It's his midfield partner Colm Keane is going to drop short again into the goalkeeper, who nervously let it bounce in front of him, but caught it and has worked it out to his wing backs. Cian Kiley first of all, and now Kevin Brown. Great ball by Brown out as far as Peter O'Neill. Space opening up in front of O'Neill. He's got a runner here on the far side if he spots him, and that was his midfield colleague, but instead he's gone route one into the corner forward into Darren Murphy, who manages to foul the corner back. And a thumbs up from Sam Ryan to the match referee for that one. Cian Walsh is in front of us here. Distinctive red hair from Cian. Plays a short little ball into the corner or the wing forward, Colin Barrett. And a great ball by Barrett to Brian Hayes. Space in front of Hayes. Still Hayes in the 14. And off the left and drills it wide. I think he probably went a bit too far and left himself with little angle.
The angle was tiny, but you'd have to think the defending was quite poor. Again, for a guy who was a very experienced player, Noel Galvin's positioning was all wrong there. When Brian Hayes got the ball, he let him inside him very, very easily, which is unlike Noel, to be fair. But I think the next 5 or 10 minutes are going to be interesting here, Colm. I think this game's going to be won and lost here in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
And, as we said, there might only be 200 people in Páirc Uí Rinn, but there's palpitations aplenty in the course of this clash here this evening. And somehow Ballincollig managed to pick it up and clear their lines out. Another good play there by their cornerback there, wearing number 4 was Garrod O'Donoghue. Anyway, back on the far side with the wing forward, Evan Cook. Out to Cian Kiley, back to Cook. Here's Cook. Great shot, great save by the goalkeeper. Got down so well and was picked up
the
by
ball off the ground.
Full back. Is it going to be a penalty? Yeah, great save by the goalkeeper to get down very quickly to Evan Cook's effort. Patrick O'Neill and his full back, Jamie Burns, coming across, but seems to have picked the ball off the ground.
Yeah, my understanding is if you pick the ball off the ground inside in the small square, and if you're not the goalkeeper, it's actually a penalty.
Well,
and I think Jamie Burns if he picked the ball off the ground, which the referee is saying, I think he did it inside the small square. I think this should be a penalty.
This should be a penalty by the rule, but James Birmingham is the man that's standing out there.
Was it outside? Yeah.
And
it certainly looked inside from here, Colm.
Anyway, the end result, we'll be watching this one again, I'm sure, a little later on review. Anyway, Cian Dorgan kicking it over and a let off for the Bars there.
Yeah, interesting enough there now. That was the first time we've really seen Cian Kiley, be very, very positive in terms of what he brings to games, and that's that energy going forward. He was involved in that move twice, and he had a beautiful hand pass to cut out 2 players. And to end up with the ball with Evan Cook.
We've a new man. We've a new man as well coming on. It looks like that Peter O'Neill's night is over, and we're just trying to see who's in for him. We'll track back that it's the man wearing number 19, and that's Kieran O'Sullivan who's coming in, and Peter O'Neill is the man that's making way. Back with the action, back with the attempt from the Bars, but Liam Jennings equal to it on his 21-yard line. A touch there for Kieran O'Sullivan, an early touch for him, and that's him there in possession with the bandage on his right leg. It's out with Garrod O'Donoghue on the far side there, being marshalled there by Alan O'Connor. Still Garrod forced to turn around back as far as Darren Murphy. Interplay there. And it's Kieran O'Sullivan, but he can only kick it straight as far as Colm Scully. Scully in the wars in the first half was off as a blood sub, and now wearing number 30 as a result. And I'm told by somebody that was a bit closer to the action that it was just outside the small square. There we've it confirmed, so correct decision by the referee James Birmingham, and it's back in front of us here with Cian Walsh. Nice interplay there as far as Olin Murphy off the right, and his shot is that of a centre back, not a centre forward, and trails to the right of Jack Gibbons' post. So
I think the game has kind of changed a bit, Colm, here. I think the setup that Ballincollig had there in the first half with Luke Fahey and Paddy seems to have changed a bit. Luke has not got on the ball at all in the second half, and I think if the Bars had a bit more composure right now, they may have another score or two.
Cian Dorgan did very well despite the bit of a push in the back there, and is actually fouled there by the corner forward Owen McGreevy. Kieran O'Sullivan holding the ball, being told to step back the extra few yards to where the free was awarded, where the foul was committed. Is Kieran. And with JP Murphy back as far as Pa Kelly in that controlling role that Luke had in the first half. Very seldom see Pa take the wrong option. This time he's forced his corner forward, though, Darren Murphy, to work very hard to come all the way out past halfway to regain possession. Darren's ball in towards Kieran O'Sullivan, but Ian Maguire's experience there read the intention long beforehand, cutting it out, and Colin Barrett is working it out to Brian Hayes on the centre field spot there. Hayes perfectly overlapped to Colin Keane on the 45-yard line. He's got an option in front of him. It's the corner forward there, Killian Myers-Murray. Murray's shot, though, not where he wanted it to go. Well claimed by Kevin Brown.
Yeah, I think the Bars have to settle down a small bit, Colin. I think they get onto good possession, but I just don't think, these shots they're taking and these options they're taking, it's just not what they were in the first half. I think they need to go back to getting the ball to Stephen Sherlock as much as they can, get him in space one-on-one as much as they can, go back to kicking the ball. They're actually carrying the ball very, very short and bring the ball into contact all the time. And I think as they get, I definitely think there's an element of rustiness and a lack of fitness due to what has gone on over the last couple of months, and I think that's beginning to play here. So whoever's going to be the smartest here will actually carry this game forward, and I think at the moment I think the Bars are just going to have to go back to what they were doing well.
Direct ball there from the goalkeeper all the way out as far as Cian Dorgan. Dorgan trying to get the better of Colm Keane. Plays a nice little ball in towards his wing back, but well cut out there by Cian Walsh, who's catching the eye a bit in the last couple of moments. It's with the corner back there, Glenn O'Connor. Has the support runner with Brian Hayes, the Cork under 20. Back to Glenn, and back to Brian. They're having their own game of tag there. It's passed off as far as the centre forward, the aforementioned Stephen Sherlock, who works it all the way back to Glenn O'Connor. And here we go again with Cian Walsh. His runners, his centre back Olin Murphy. Nice little ball by Murphy in towards the corner forward, but once again Ballincollig aware of the danger, regrouping and working it back out with Garrod O'Donoghue out there, just up from under 21s. Not sure is this his senior debut tonight, could be wrong on that one, but he's undoubtedly one of the younger players on this Ballincollig setup. Here comes the centre back Noel Galvin, swallowing up the ground. Darren Murphy, nice little interplay by Murphy. Still Murphy, it's going to dip and well caught by the goalkeeper O'Neill. It was just going to creep under the crossbar, but O'Neill, seasoned operator, tracked it all the way back, and a good safe pair of hands there. But Murphy strikes me as the type of fella that knew exactly what he was doing as well too, Brian.
You'd have to admire his footwork, like he left Alan O'Connor on his haunches. I think again a bit like what was going well for Ballincollig in the first half, getting the ball to Darren Murphy, getting the ball to, I'll leave you in there. Yeah, here comes Ian Maguire, space opening up in front of him. Luke Fahey holding off him, offloads it to centre forward Sherlock, stopped brilliantly. Once, not twice. Liam Jennings was in there as well too, and two wonderful passages of play. But for 1 second there, when Ian Maguire got on the ground, you could hear the whoosh of excitement and expectation. But a combination of Jennings and some fellow defenders managing to clear the lines, and a huge let off there for Ballincollig. We're in possession there with Paddy Kelly. You'd have to say brilliant defending from Liam Jennings. Not only did he push Stephen Sherlock on the first shot out wide, And the second shot as well, he threw his body in the way, moved the ball, with his, I don't know, was it with his head or with his shoulder, or maybe his hand, but that's a sign of a very, very tenacious and experienced defender. If the Bars got a goal there, it would have been a long night, I think, for Ballincollig to try and claw it. But to be fair, it was our first time seeing Ian Maguire making it one of those runs, his trademark runs, and the Bars maybe need a bit more of that.
Looks to be Cian Dorgan is the man that's making way. We'll see in a moment who Ballincollig are introducing for him. Slightly difficult here with the setup tonight with players. Look to Dara Dorgan is the man that's in wearing number 20. Just with the entry of players onto the field from various angles, hard to keep track. Murphy having the shot again there from distance, but that one was definitely too much of an ask, even for a man as talented as him. Substitute coming on here in front of us for the Bars, the man wearing number 19 is Dennis O'Brien, a county medal winner in 2018. Good man to be bringing on, and it is the centre back Olin Murphy, who was black carded earlier in the first half, who'd come into the game in the second half, and he's making way. And as I said, it's Dennis O'Brien is the man there in your shot wearing number 19, and a good set of hands from him early on as well. Great interplay with Brian Hayes, and here comes O'Brien now. Ball by him off the left, and that shot there is tracked all the way by Killian Myers-Murray and Haron Trashnawn, and that's a great score, and that's 1-9, 12 points in all money to 10 points for Ballincollig with 45 minutes elapsed.
An immediate impact from Dennis O'Brien. I would have found him that he was a very, very important part of the Bars team there a couple of years ago when they were successful. Works very, very hard, won the kick out there, and interesting enough, chance here.
Another chance here. With the corner forward Killian Myers-Murray, and Murray flips it over.
Yeah. Interesting enough for the Bars, Cullum, it was Ola Murphy they took off the centre back, brought on Dennis O'Brien, who normally plays wing forward. Olin got forward 2 or 3 times there in the second half, but lacked that small bit of composure to actually, and gave the ball away a few times. So seems like a good move from the line from the Bars.
Well, it has certainly been in the last 2 or 3 minutes anyway. It's Kieran O'Sullivan here. Ball to JP Murphy. Unfortunately for JP, his corner forward wasn't expecting that pass, and the Bars cutting it out. A bit of a volleyball play there by the wing back Alan O'Connor to keep it in play, and it's with Glenn O'Connor wearing number 4 back to Dennis O'Brien. And a shot there out of nothing from the corner forward Myers-Murray. He got that point a few moments ago. Confidence was higher, maybe the blood pressure was high, and tried a bit of a snapshot, but came to naught there. And we're still at 110 to 10 points with 47 minutes elapsed of this Bon Secours Cork Championship game. Being brought to you on the Irish Examiner in our new 3-year partnership with the Cork County Board, and we'll be streaming more and more championship matches throughout the course of this campaign, and indeed over the seasons ahead. Flicked on there through a set of hands, but eventually Alan O'Connor was in the right place at the right time and was more than happy to take it. Killian going in as far as Sherlock, and it's gone out over the sideline. And Sherlock was deemed to be the last man to have touched it. Liam Jennings, who did so well, as Brian pointed out a few moments ago, with his bravery in denying Sherlock what looked like a certain goal chance. Paddy Kelly, light beginning to fade just a small bit here in Páirc Uí Rinn in the last few minutes. Hard to believe that we're only a week out from August. Had some showers here in Cork this evening, but thankfully nothing too bad here. Ball looked to be heading all the way in to the midfielder, to Sean Kiley, but there's a Bars player down on the ground. Referee didn't spot it, and play was waved on, but Kiley couldn't control it, and the Bars did really well to escape that one, and have regrouped and are here in front of us with Colm Keane, and they've gone right across the field, and that's going to put Colin Barrett under serious pressure to keep the ball in. But what it will allow is time for the treatment for the Bars player that is down injured, and Paul O'Keefe, the Bars manager, is running in as well too. And over on the far side, tensions mounting, no social distancing in play there on the sideline. And the match referee looks to be fighting fires on two fronts. He's that little incident there on the sideline, and then his attention being called to whatever happened off the ball there. It looked to be Jamie Burns was the man that picked up the knock, but he's back on his feet anyway.
Yeah, I think it was actually a leg injury, so I don't think it was something untoward that happened in around the square, off the ball or anything. I don't know, is it just me, Colin, but I just think both teams are starting to tire a bit earlier in the game than you'd normally see in Championship, which is to be expected, to be fair. And I think look, it's just right now it's about good decisions, about composure. If tanks are emptying a small bit, I think the Bars have a lot of people that they could actually bring in who might make a difference here. But at the same time, I think there's snapshots happening that are not necessary. Games like this, fine margins, just keep possession, work scores, get the ball to the guys who can finish. Interesting enough, we haven't seen a lot from Stephen Sherlock now in the last couple of minutes. He got a ball a while ago that's on the sideline. He's not going to be dangerous from there. He needs to be in around the square there like he was in the first half, get good quality ball into them and make hay after that.
Well, tired minds and tired bodies, Brian. Just to mention, just to give us a little bit of a plug of some of the matches that we will be covering over the next 7 or 8 days. Tomorrow night I'm back here for another Premier Senior Football Championship clash. Brian, though, won't be alongside me because he'll be busier in other duties with his native Bishopstown, who are playing Douglas. We won't pick your brain too much on that one for the moment, other than the fact that you've given away that you've got some new super Tyrone star that's been drafted in. That game is 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and that'll be on the Irish Examiner website from 7. And then the following weekend we're on to hurling duty. Friday the 31st, it's the Premier SHC clash of Middleton v SARS. That's here in Páirc Uí Rinn, and I'll be on duty for that. And then Des Curran will be taking charge for Blackrock v Erin's Own, which is here in Páirc Uí Rinn at 5 o'clock on Saturday, August 1st, and that's also Premier Senior Hurling Championship game. So those just some of the games on the agenda. Lots more to come, and we'll be issuing and announcing the details of those in the days and the weeks ahead. As we look through what will be a very, very busy fixture calendar between now and the start of October.
One of those guys, Colm, that we were saying on the Bars bench is obviously Michael Shields. He's after being introduced there now. So if you're talking about an experienced head for the last 15 minutes of the game, he certainly will add something here. Extremely able on the ball. And I think it was a good move again by the Bars line to bring him on right now.
Yeah, what you want is somebody that's going to hold the ball and won't do anything silly.
Yeah, and just that comes with experience, and you can see, maybe Darren Murphy has had a snapshot. Killian Murray Hayes there, Marius Murray, had a snapshot. Those type of snapshots cost you, but they don't. That level of cool-headedness doesn't come with it unless you're experienced. And players like Paddy Kelly, Michael Shields, still doing it after all these years, and considering what they've done.
Yeah, hard to believe, 10 years on from an All-Ireland Championship squad to where we are here today. Mention of that, Kieran O'Connor's terribly sad passing, Brian, last week. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. I was talking to someone, I think there was something like 44 members of the Cork squad turned out down in Ahada.
Absolutely unbelievable, but the bond between all of those players, Colm, is second to none. They were through the miller with each other, and I suppose the sport pales into insignificance when you're talking about situations like illness and life, and it was heart-wrenching to see the scenes that came from Ahada last week. But Cork GA was at its best, Ahada GA was at its best. And certainly, both Cork and Ahada could be extremely proud. And I'm sure Kieran is extremely proud of the send-off that his club and his county gave him.
Very much so, and we extend our sympathies from all of us here tonight, and indeed all the greater Irish Examiner and Cork GA teams as well, to the extended O'Connor family. 53.5 minutes elapsed. It's the Bars who lead 1 goal and 10 points to 10 points. The goal scored by Owen McGreevy in the first half following an error between Jack Gibbons and Shane Murphy. And we're waiting on a substitution here. Eventually, it looks like that Colm Scully's night has ended after blood subs and jersey swaps and everything like that. And we'll see who's in for him in a moment. And it's Colin Lyons, the man he replaced, the man who was originally down to be wearing number 5, is the man who's come in his stead. Calls for the Ballincollig players to speed up in terms of their frees and sidelines and everything like that. Obviously those calls coming from the Bars contingent. Question marks over the direction of that sideline there. Well, what matters most is that Michael Shields has his hand on the ball and is allowed to play on, and Ian Maguire is brought down to the ground there. And
the linesman doesn't look too happy with something that was said over there, Colm, I think.
I'm sure that there was plenty. It's amazing, even I think with the limited personnel here tonight, every word can be heard now.
Absolutely.
So it's a double-edged sword.
Just on Ballincollig there, I think the Bars again, you'd have to give them credit in terms of their movement on the line. They put Cian Walsh there on Luke Fahey after he's, tremendous first 20-25 minutes. Since then, not only has Luke tired, but Cian has stuck with him rigidly. He's gone off from there now, but he was on him for the last 15-20 minutes, and it's worked a treat for them.
Yeah, all credit there. As we said, Luke's authority and influence in the opening 15 minutes had him down as a potential man of the match, but things have faded there somewhat. You mentioned there about Ian Maguire when he builds up a head of steam. We just saw a little cameo of it there, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think his game when he was even 2 or 3 or 4 years younger was totally based on that. These massive bursts forward, huge energy sapping runs that were 60-70 yards. Over the last year or two, he's changed slightly because people understood the way he wanted to play and tried to stymie him. So he's much more of an influencer around the field under kickouts, breaks, hard work, tackles. But he still has those 3 or 4 runs a half. And obviously, when they pay off and when there's a support runner off his shoulder, they can be lethal.
Well, it won the free there, and Stephen Sherlock stepped up to it. But this time, Stephen, who scored that monster kick there in the first half, has drilled it far to the left and driven it wide, and it leaves us still with 3 points between the sides with 57 minutes or so elapsed. The ball rolls back to the goalkeeper, shouts there that he shouldn't have touched it, but referee happy to leave play on, and Liam Jennings, a big booming kick back into the old style of full back play there, out as far as his wing back Kevin Brown right across the field to JP Murphy. Murphy got on quite a lot of ball in the course of the evening this evening. Cian Kiley is wearing number 7 there on the far side. It's gone over the 45-yard line, and it's finding its way all the way back to JP again. Murphy going right across the field here in front of us, doing his very best there to try and get his hands on it was Dara Dorgan, but just went through the fingertips, and it's back with the Bars, and it's back with Brian Hayes, and space in front of Hayes. He's got a runner inside him if he wishes, and that runner is the man wearing number 19, the substitute, who's gone instead to his corner forward and to Killian Myers Murphy, and it was Dennis O'Brien who has impressed. He took the pass, saw Myers Murray was in a much better position.
Yeah, just that one column, I just counted there. Ballincollig, just when the ball broke down, I counted. Ballincollig had 10 players beyond the ball, alright? Now, we'd all be willing that people even at this stage of the game are still committing to attack, but you have to be smart. They left 4 on 4 here. As soon as they lost the ball, 4 on 4 in space, players like Killian Myers Murray, and the work of Dennis O'Brien, as you say, it just doesn't make sense to me right now.
Question is now, will desperation start to hit in there now for Ballincollig? Are they going to try and push for a goal, or will they just take their time and see can they kick the points that will bring them back into the game? But they won't with an effort like that from Cian Dorgan, which has trailed trail wide, and I don't think that Patrick O'Neill will be in too much of a rush with the kick out.
Like I make that last point, like born out of the enthusiasm to chase down the lead, fair enough, I get that. But I suppose the point I'm trying to make is you have to be smart, even though you're down the couple of scores, 4 points, you're down those few scores, you still have to stick to your plan, still stick to the stuff that you were doing well in the first half. Things they were opening up the bars, and they seem to have just gone away from it completely.
Good kick out, hanging in the air, ready made for Ian Maguire. Punch clear though, and a whole host of bodies underneath it. One of those was Maguire, who's after taking a bit of a knock to the head there. And I see Kieran O'Sullivan alongside him as well too, is getting gingerly back to his feet. Two big men coming together.
Yeah, there was severe bravery there from Ian Maguire. He just threw his head into somewhere where most fellas wouldn't throw their boot, to be fair. And that's the type of player he is. I'd have huge admiration for the way he plays the game. Again, he's their leader.
Bad communication malfunction there by Ballincollig. Cian Dorgan looked to be kicking the free to Kieran O'Sullivan, mishit it, went over O'Sullivan, and the Bars have possession, and it's Cian Walsh over there. Back as far as Michael Shields. Michael will take his time. Nice play now right across the field with Glenn O'Connor, the corner back. Will he turn around? He's got options behind him if he wishes. He's going to play it in, and he took the wrong option there because Garrod O'Donoghue read what was intended and started the counter attack, and JP Murphy is fouled, and bit of pushback there, quickly taken free, but the referee is calling, looks to be Cian Walsh's side, for a word for throwing the ball back there in an attempt to buy themselves a few extra seconds. Picks up a yellow card, and an extra few yards as well too for Cian Dorgan.
Absolutely, put this ball over the bar, goal in it, then keep your shape, keep doing the things you were due. Your chance will come. There could be 4 or 5 minutes left here in injury time. Your chance will come. There's no need for panic. Like he's after wasting 15 or 20 seconds here, and nice and steady at the same time. But at the same time, just get this point, game on, then pressure. Yeah,
big kick though, Brian. Here, like we're talking 50, 55 yards here for Cian.
I've seen him do this before, Colin. I've no doubt he'll score it. Oh. Commentator's curse. I wasn't going to question you anyway. No, I've seen.
He struck it well.
That's in his locker.
And a bit of a breeze behind him. But you look, as you said though, Brian, it's not a time for panic. There's going to be we had all these substitutions,
and you're the water break. I think there's going to be 4 or 5 minutes here. That was an important kick, though. Get back to the goal, pressure on the kick out, and go from there.
Great kick out by the goalkeeper. Oh, what a piece of fielding there.
There's your leader.
That's what you want. Ian Maguire soaring through the air, claiming the mark. Does the simple thing so well. Lovely ball then by him, by Killian Myers-Murray. He's pumped it all in there towards Sherlock down there. And they're working it all the way back again to Colin Lyons. And they'll be quite happy to eat away the remaining seconds. Mightn't be the prettiest if you're watching from a Ballincollig viewpoint, but this is what Michael Shields and Ian Maguire and those kind of skilled campaigners bring to the table. Great ball in as far as Dennis O'Brien. Lovely ball by him in towards the corner forward. Tyrone McGreevy, the goal scorer, back with Maguire. Over the crossbar. Could really have been under the crossbar, but I really think with about 3 minutes to go, that's game, set and match territory.
Absolutely, I think they're now leadership personified. Catch the kick out, that big kick out, catch it, get fouled, and be at the end of the move that's 60, 70 yards away from you to finish with your weaker foot, which Ian wouldn't have been, 5-6 years ago, would have been a problem for him, but not anymore with the work that he's put in. He is absolutely, I'd have huge admiration for what he's done for himself.
And it's like to see him now, he's out on his feet spent, there. Yeah. He's so spent, and to see a county man like that giving his all in the first round of a championship game like that, it's wonderful to see.
Absolutely.
So what can Ballincollig produce? And I suppose the other thing that we must factor into today is like with the tables and group formats, who's to say that maybe scoring differences will come into it. So every score is going to be vital now for every team in the course of this championship campaign. It's Cian Walsh again. picked up that card a few moments ago. Don't think he'll be worrying too much about that though. Look with Colin Lyons and Stephen Sherlock. Barr's willing to come back as far as Colin Barrett, and all the way back here in front of us with Maguire again. And look where Ian Maguire is sitting now after his heroics of a few moments ago. 112 to 10 points. The Bars lead Ballincollig in this Cork Premier Senior Football Championship clash. This Bon Secours Hospital, our new sponsors, announced on Tuesday down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and a hurling sponsor set to be announced next week as well, which is another huge boost, another huge endorsement of the Cork Championships. Out on the far side there, it's Colin Lyons, space opening up across the field. I can see Colin Barrett here screaming for the ball. Does Barrett get on the end of it? Yes, he does, and he takes the easy fist over the bar. But that was wonderful play by the wing back and the wing forward. Must have been about 40 yards between them. Picked him out, and Barrett simply tapped it over and pushes out to a 6-point lead.
Yeah, Colin Barrett was actually standing underneath us here on the sideline as that play was building. And I'd have to point out Michael Shields has come on here for the last 15 minutes. In that play alone, he touched the ball 4 times, just moved the ball forward, was there again. So that type of experience you can't buy.
And great to have your experienced full back there collecting that one there. And the final man to grab the ball is Alan O'Connor, the wing back. No ripple of applause, no anything. It's just, that's it. Full-time whistle all over, and it's St. Finbarr's 1 goal and 13 points. Ballincollig 10 points in this Cork Premier Senior Football Championship clash here. The first of the 2020 season. What a new season it is. So, your thoughts on all of that?
I suppose firstly, I think there's a huge sense of relief from Paul O'Keefe and Jim O'Donoghue and the Bars management team. I think they were disappointed last year against Nemo. They had a lot of injuries at the time. I think they put in an awful lot of work here early doors this season. I saw them meeting around Christmas time out around Bishopstown and Costa there as a management, and I said to myself, these boys be in business this year. I think it's a huge start for them. I think certainly in the first 20 minutes I thought Ballincollig were controlling the game. They were showing very good composure. Their game plan looked very, very good. They were utilising Paddy Kelly and Luke Fahey quite well. They were the Bars, the 2 lads inside. Darren Murphy had a spell there where he looked very, very dangerous and causing problems for Jamie Burns and for Glenn O'Connor. So, at that stage you'd say that, Ballincollig, if they keep doing what they were doing here, would control the game. Mm-hmm. Then, there was the sin bin. The Bars up the ante, and after that water break, got control of the game. And to be fair to them, even though they had, poor decisions for 15 minutes in the start of the second half, and struggled to score, you could see there that the longer the game was going on, the further they were going to actually have the bigger the gap is going to be between both of them. Okay, a couple of shrewd decisions as well. We mentioned Dennis O'Brien came on within a minute or two, he'd I think a hand and maybe 2 scores. Yeah, and we said that during the commentary that the Bars had huge options on the bench column. Michael Shields, Dennis O'Brien. I think that when teams go through winning a county championship, and if you're a starter on that team, and 3 or 4 years later you're now a sub on the team. When you get your opportunity, you want to contribute, and you want to contribute hugely. And I think, to be fair to the Bars, I think they got a lot of things right. They moved a lot of guys in the game. Their substitutions were very good. The timings of changes were very, very good. And I think they certainly contributed to grabbing the game by the scruff when it needed to be. Okay, but the big question now for the Bars, and no more than yourselves in Bishopstown, is a new condensed championship, and then you have that thing of hurling as well. Yeah, I suppose for us, I would imagine the Bars are the same, Douglas are the same. Nixon the Glen are the same, Newcestown are the same. Many other clubs are sharing players, hurling and football, regardless of what grade they're at. For us, we're very, very proud of the fact that we're Premier Senior in both competitions. We will do our very, 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 very best to retain that status. And I think the club gets very used to, over a long period of time, Colm, the fact that you're senior in both and you're sharing players week in, week out. And any time over the last number of years, any of the clubs that have been anyway successful, they end up playing week on week at the end of the season anyway.
Okay.
The only difference this time around is that you're playing in the best of weather. You have all your players all the time. There's no pressure from anywhere else. You've had a 3 or 4 week lead in, and I think clubs are quite used to, especially the dual clubs, are very used to flipping between hurling and football. Your problem probably will be in 6 weeks' time, where your panel will get a bit smaller, because I think that the fact that they've had a very short lead-in time, and the proof in the pudding is in the eating. And even at the moment, I was speaking to someone during the week where the prevalence of ACL injury has been quite high over the last 2-3 weeks, because clubs are anxious to get people back training straight away, and maybe some of the work that was done was too intense too soon. I think in 5 or 6 weeks' time, when all these matches and all the load adds up, some of the dual clubs are going to be under pressure, and you know, you'd have to question a small bit. And I know we're starting into a new format, but certainly wearing my club hat on, you know, the fact that relegation is in vogue for this year, and the circumstances that have surrounded the competition over the last 3 or 4 months, I think it is slightly harsh on the dual club.
Okay, well, all to come in the next couple of weeks. There'll be plenty of plot lines, plenty of storylines, plenty of scores and excitement. Brian, we're going to have to leave it that, as it has got quite dark here in Páirc Uí Rinn. If we were still playing, we'd be probably flicking on the floodlights. That's where we are going to have to leave it for this evening. St. Finbarr's 1 goal and 13 points. Ballincollig 10 points. Our thanks to Brian Cuthbert, as always, for his expert analysis. He won't be here alongside me this evening. I don't know who Undina Ella is just yet. Will you be one of the 200 here tomorrow night, by the way, Brian?
No, I won't be, unfortunately, Colin. I'm chairman actually of the club, and I'm not even going to the game. We have 48 players training all year, so we decided that all those 48 will go.
Great decision.
And then we got 17 tickets from the board extra, so we got 40 and 17, 57, so 48 went to the players and management, and then we raffled the remaining 9 or 10 tickets. My name was in the hat, but it didn't come out. But to be fair to everybody,
and do you think people are, we'll say, having seen this now tonight, do you think people are understanding?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a level of acceptance in society now that this is just the way it is. Like, you know, all of the officers in our club decided we're going to, you know, we have no more right to be at the game than anyone else. The important people to be there are our team and our management, and those members who actually are connected to it, who went into the raffle. And it'll be the same for the 6 or 7 weeks, as long as 200 people is the number. Our club will continue to do what we're doing.
Very, very nice and kind gesture. Okay, Brian, we're going to say thank you very much for that. Douglas Bishopstown, the game we're mentioning, is here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And the good news for Brian and for fans of Douglas and Bishopstown is that we will be back here as well, live streaming that game. We're also back then the following week with hurling. Middleton v SARS is on the Friday night, and then on Saturday, August 1st, it's Blackrock and Airnzone. That's where we're going to have to wrap it up for this evening. Thanks to Raf and Will, who was standing in for Jack on our camera duties tonight. Thanks as well to the county board, as well to for all their assistance in facilitating this broadcast, and thanks to Stephen, who was back at base. And thank you finally for watching. We're back again same time, well, a bit earlier, 7 o'clock, same channel, which is irishexaminer.com/sport/GA tomorrow evening for that clash of Douglas and